Technology. Completely forgot.
You need some assistance?
No, I somehow completely forgot about the started record. Yeah, we'll start.
To connect the recording?
I think I have.
It's not showing the red dot.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Oh, thank you. Yeah. It asked me to delete the files. I deleted and then I forgot.
Recording has started.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start today, and one of you wants to chant after me.
I can do, but if somebody else wants to do, it's also okay.
Yeah. Okay. आप आज try करो.
Sure. Will I start the invocation or would you like to start?
No, आप start कर दो.
Okay. Sadashiv Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhasha Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You want me to start chapter 3 also?
1 minute.
Dipti?
1 minute. I'll just share and then. Sorry for this. But will you follow me?
Yes, yes, Dipti.
अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः
अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः
कर्मयोगः।
कर्मयोगः।
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन उवाच
ध्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते
ध्यायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते
मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
तत् किं कर्मणि घोरे माम्
तत् किं कर्मणि घोरे माम्
नियोजयसि केशव।
नियोजयसि केशव।
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन
बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे।
बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे।
तदेकं वद निश्चित्य
तदेकं वद निश्चित्य
येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्।
Yes. Thank you. Just stick to these two verses. So, welcome everybody. We are now starting chapter 3 of the Gita. On this auspicious day, Shivratri, chapter 2, we saw that Arjun has been in a confused state in chapter 1. And in chapter 2, Bhagwan Krishna, as a teacher, takes on the confusion that Arjun has and starts to dispel that confusion based on facts. Facts that are not just sensorily verifiable, but facts which are also inferred based on anubhav, experiences, based on logic, third degree, fourth degree, anuman, arthapatti. So, Shastra, Vedantic Shastra, and in particular here, our study being Bhagavad Gita, is a dispeller of confusion. Confusion specific to what am I to do in life now? What should be done? I have choices in front all the time. On what grounds would a choice turn out to be right for me? I can't see future, and all choices are going to bring results in the future. Every choice I make now is directing my life to some end which I can't see when I take a choice. So, is there a method or a mechanism or a processing that one can go through to know better regarding what choices we make? That knowledge, which will help us to discern and decide which is more beneficial in the long run without sacrificing my immediate happiness as well. That criteria, throughout the study, one at a time, Krishna takes. So we saw by the time chapter 2 has ended, we have seen Sankhya Gyan, Gyan Yog, Atma, Anatma being a discernible fact, that there is something which is temporary, fleeting, ephemeral, transient, which is actually our experience through the senses. Seasons change, body changes, relations change, wealth changes, everything under uh, under one's contactable uh, realm of experience, contactable realm of experience. Everything undergoes a change. Nothing can remain eternal. Whatever is contactable will not be eternal. That Shastra is given one word, that is, it is not real. By the very definition that it is going to be fleeting, उसका अस्तित्व, उसकी सत्ता पहले नहीं थी, बाद में नहीं होगी, बस आज दिख रही है. Therefore, this is a seeming reality. This is a seeming truth. Now, today, it looks very real, but it is going to change. Therefore, the ground that it will change, it should be analyzed. Whether it, the criteria of saying that this is real, does it really apply? I'll repeat this sentence. Whatever is contactable is temporary, is fleeting, but to us it looks real now. Whatever is real looking today, but is to change tomorrow, Shastra says, figure, understand, analyze, does it deserve the category of reality? Should you call it real? Should it be qualified as real? Does it stand the test of reality, truly speaking? For which there should be something which stands the test of reality. There should be something available within my experience also, which should be lasting and not changing, which should be permanent, which should be nitya, which should be also my experience. So now we have two things. One is a contactable experience realm. Another is there must be an experience which is lasting but not contactable. Repeating again. By definition, we said whatever is contactable. Contactable means what? My eyes are contacting color and form. My ears are contacting sound. My nose is contacting smell. My tongue is contacting taste. My skin is contacting touch, feel. These are our five Gyanendriyas, means of knowledge. Through these means of knowledge, Gyanendriyas, whatever we contact, शास्त्र से अपने आप ही देख लो, समझ लो, आसपास देख के देख लो, जिस चीज को मैं देख रही हूं, क्या ये परमानेंट रहेगा? Will it last? जिन चीजों को मैं सुनती हूं, will it be permanent? Will it last? Whatever I am tasting, is it going to last? It's common sense. The fact that it is contact based experience is saying that it is beginning at a point of contact and it ends when the contact disintegrates or dissipates or ends. This contact based reality, which appears without doubt as real to us, Shastra says if this is going to be your base alone, just this is going to be your basis alone of making some important decisions, of choosing in life, then you are likely to hit or miss. It can be right, it can be wrong, we don't know. Because it can be right, but it will be temporary. Contrasting it to, if I have to call this temporary, if I say this is temporary reality, then to understand this is temporary, there must be the other category, permanent. Hoga kuch, hai kya? Analyze. He says, figure out, understand, inquire. Is there another permanent category? Because if this is contact based, is the very reason for which we are saying it is temporary, then that category must be free of contact. It should be contactless. And yet, it cannot be imagination. It's like the imagination of a man's horns. Now, if we say, oh, I saw horns on, I saw a species of human beings which had horns on the head, it won't happen. Yeah. That is your own imagination. That's not sense of reality. That is illusion. But a category which is experienced, verifiable, but free of the sensory contact. That is called anubhav in the real sense. The anubhav, the experience of my existence, that I am. And that existence remains throughout my life changeless. I don't wake up one day and say, oh, I have woken up, but I don't have a sense of I. I don't have any sense of me. We never say that. There is a complete sense of identification, a complete sense of me throughout our life, which remains changeless. But I am a young person. I am an old person. I am rich today. I am not rich today. I am fair. I am tall. There are a lot of things that are attributed to I, which are changing. So, this Atma Anatma discernment was the very first part of factual knowledge, understandable and verifiable. Krishna tells Arjun, your reason not to fight this war is based on your relations here that you see, whom you are deeply attached to, which is right in its place. That is not being denied. But the fact is, you are choosing an important decision to say, I want to retreat from the war based on the fact that I will be killing them. I'll be killing them. Therefore, this is a terrible action. This is a ghor karma in third chapter, first verse, second verse. He's going to say that this is a ghor karma. Why are you impelling me? You seem to be saying that. So Krishna tells Arjuna that don't decide based on certain temporary factors. Simple. Second thing is, now that I cannot decide just on temporary factors, which means in Arjun's case, taking that as an example, temporary factor is bodies are born, bodies go, birth is there, death has to come, whether you have to do your duty. Krishna says, if you, as a sense of your responsibility, have to take certain hard decisions, harsh decisions, strong decisions, firm decisions, which are in the welfare of all, which falls in your duty, then you should abide in that. But how you should abide in it, because what will you do about your feelings? What will you do about your emotions at that time that will interrupt or interfere with your skillness? Arjun was a skillful warrior. It'll interrupt. As we see, when your mind is disturbed, your action is not as best as you can give. If a sportsman is accomplished sportsman, if he's disturbed that day, he even if he's accomplished, he misses out on his best because his mind is not cooperating in his action. There is a dvandva, there is a conflict, and that seems to be dissipating his energy, that seems to be dissipating his action. So Krishna says, action you have to, karam karo, karna hai, even if you have to take hard decisions, but do them in a way that they do not become another reason for starting another cycle, which will again end up in another state of grief. Means displeasure, unhappiness. So I don't know what the future is, but I can certainly know how should I do my action now that likely it will not bring about a cycle which will end in grief or sorrow or displeasure or give me unhappiness tomorrow, etc. ये कर्म मैं आज कैसे करूं, ये हार्ड डिसीजन बेस्ड कर्म मैं कैसे करूं कि ये मुझको आगे चल के दुख का कारण ना बने, मेरे दुख का कारण ना बने और किसी और के दुख का कारण तो बिल्कुल भी ना बने। मेरे कर्म से किसी और को दुख तो बिल्कुल भी ना हो, बट मेरे भी दुख का कारण ना बने। And he said that method, which is now Karam Yoga, how to do that. He introduced it in second chapter. And then coming later on, Arjun asks, Krishna said, doing actions as Karam Yoga, bringing the yoga buddhi. I call it mental adjustment. You just make a few fine adjustments in your thinking, in your attitudes. You have to be honest. You discover your attitudes, you discover your flaws, you discover your wants, you discover as per the criteria that we learn. What am I attached to? What am I looking for? And then you start adjusting them, making your adjustments, perform the action. Such an action slowly brings you to the point of a shanti, inner peace. That seems to be what you are yearning for. कर्म योग से किया हुआ कर्म एक शांति देता है, and that shanti, you know, is what you were looking for, because when you do karma, any action in the world, you do it for a certain level of happiness that you expect it to bring to you through results. But through karam yoga, you get a shanti, excuse me, which seems to be far lasting. I call it far deeper, far anchored, far more freer than what you knew before. And you know that this is what you are looking for. But this Shanti is also not permanent. This Shanti is also temporary, lasting than the previous one, sure, but it is not permanent Shanti. And as human beings, our search will not end. Search means what? Constant motivation to do something or the other. Remain engaged in doing something or the other. That will not end till this permanent nature of existence that I express as me is discovered in its trueness, in its realness. What is this existence of mine? Till that is discovered, what is its nature? Till then, that Shanti doesn't come. So then, what does Karam Yoga do? Because it has brought this inner peace, Shanti, what metamorphosizes, I will use the word metamorphosizes, because there is a transformation of your inner thinking. What you were thinking before as my gains, as my loss, and mujhe kya milega, mujhe kya nahi mil raha, all that, somehow the mind becomes free of all that jakran, that cycle in which we think, which Shastra just calls artha and kama, our entire attention of thinking along those lines. Through Karam Yoga, it frees itself. And as a result of which, that inner peace is called a state of antakarna shuddhi. And the lakshana of antakarna shuddhi is that there is a jignasa, there is a questioning that arises, that is a natural swabhav in you, that you start questioning more relevant things in life. So what are relevant things? Other than just eat and sleep and drink and more than that. The question just emerges. What is life? People say there is death, life after death. What is death? Where does birth come from? Why is there so much inequality? Why is there why is there so much of pain and suffering? That one question made Buddha a Buddha. Why is there so much suffering? No? Where are we engaged in? We are engaged in why am I suffering? What did that question come? Same question. Look at the I and why is there suffering? The I is gone from there. I am suffering nahi hai. Why is there suffering? That itself made Buddha a Buddha. Ramana asked the question, what is death? J. Krishnamurti asked the question, what dies? What will be taken away on death? There is a certain thinking which is not a layman's preoccupied state of thinking. And that thinking is not a silent, quiet, over a cup of coffee, engagement with friends, and then forgotten. That thinking is a disturbance in itself to a person, unsettling because you don't know the answers. And you're not just comfortable just thinking that all this that I see around is the main purpose of life. That unsettling that it does. Now, Shastra says, you have qualified yourself for knowing what this Atma is, your existence, your nature. Your Antakarnam is now sharpened, has got loosened of its own self absorbed nature, and has broadened itself, has become more open, has broadened, has become objective. And therefore, what is going to be an inquiry based knowledge entirely, your own nature, is now becoming available to you. And Shastra has that knowledge, it gives you, and you are able to see the reality, which is your existence, which is real. So Arjun had asked, what are the lakshanas? How does that person who has known who he is conduct in these situations of life? and that was sthita prajna, when your prajna is sthir. Now, this chapter 2, in a nutshell, is very interesting to note that before the third chapter starts, there is a very subtle topic which Shankara takes up, Adi Shankaracharya takes up, and which is relevant to know for one's own spiritual growth. The topic is coming from the second chapter. Here I am taking a new commentary, Madhusudana Saraswati. He has very beautifully summarized. What I have summarized is more in the context of our day to day, what you can connect. But from the standpoint of your spiritual journey, how is the second chapter laid out? Madhusudan Saraswati ji says in his commentary that this second chapter is sutrartha. Sutrartha means the verses there are in the form of a sutra. Sutra means a short, condensed statement which contains a whole lot of elaboration. So, one sutra can be 4 words, 5 words, 3 words, even 1 word sometimes. And you can have pages of knowledge just on that. That's called sutra. Madhusudan says the second chapter is like sutra. For what? For the rest of the Gita from 3rd chapter to 17th chapter. Krishna has given, means Vyasa has given through Krishna, the entire synopsis of the what has to come in the Gita ahead, chapter by chapter, and also a synopsis of the entire path, journey of qualifying oneself for that Atmagyan, for establishing in that self knowledge, knowledge of oneself. What is that krama, sequence? He says here, it starts with first, just for the sake of quick recap, and also if you're new, you'll be able to understand. He says, first chapter, Prathama Adhyaya, he gave introduction, Upodghata. Dvitya Adhyayaha, second chapter, Kritsnaha, in short, Kritsnaha, well done. Shastra Artha Sutritaha is the Arth of Shastra, meaning of the Shastra. Which Shastra? Bhagavad Gita here. The entire meaning of the Shastra is given as a sutra in second chapter. There, Adau, in the very beginning, starting with Nishkama Karma Nishtha. That's the first step. What happens if you missed out on the sequence? Anyone aspiring for a spiritual maturity in oneself, the first change is from Sakam to Nishkam Karam. Sakam Karam means for my own desire fulfillment. Nishkam Karam is Karam Yoga. I have a higher desire, a not a self-oriented desire alone. Nishkarma karma nishtha. I want to emphasize the word nishtha here because you'll see a beautiful sequence coming forward. Nishtha means established. Established in nishkam karma. My capacity, my actions are now by default converted to becoming nishkam. पहले क्या थे हम? Impulsive, likes and dislikes, मेरी मर्जी, मेरी इच्छा, एंड जो मुझे ठीक, मेरे हिसाब से, मुझे ये ठीक लगता है, आई लाइक इट दिस वे, यू लाइक इट दैट वे, आई विल डू माई वे, without any thinking. What I like and dislike are only my thinking, is my only thinking. That's sakama drishti. Your first step has to become nishkama nishtha. Nishtha means you have to establish in it. Once you're established in it, then what happens? That established nishkama कर्म करने की आदत आपका स्वभाव बन जाता है. You only are natural in your action when it's nishkam. That's nishtha in nishkam. Because of that, what happened? Tataha antakarana shuddhi. You get antakarana shuddhi. I just explained that. That antakarana shuddhi will be what? Shama dama adi sadhana purasaraha. It that antakarana shuddhi means shama dama adi shataka sampatti. You have the wealth of inner qualities like sense control, mind control, forbearance, equanimity, and objectivity, and shraddha and vairagya. You have this qualification. Your mind is matured, has metamorphosed itself. You find yourself easily abiding in these. Having these as your now inner nature, keeping that in mind, comes sarva karma sannyas. This is now where the topic will move. Who is qualified for it? And why Arjun could not retreat in his as he wished to from war. Once there is sadhana chatushtayam, shamadama adi shatakam, sampatti, then keeping that as one's nature forward, there is jignasa. You are now qualified for sarva karma sannyas, means you are now freed of the causal realm of dependence for your existence on obligation. Obligatory duties are, you are freed from those obligatory duties. That stage, you are freed of obligatory. When you have Shamadamadi Shataka Sampatti. When will you have Shamadamadi Shataka Sampatti? When you have Antakarna Shuddhi. When do you have Antakarna Shuddhi? When you have Nishkama Karma Nishtha. This then once he's taken, when does he take Sarva Karma Sannyam? Then what does he do after that? Does she just sit idle? Now society is providing for you, everything's laid out for you. Sannyas ashram is looked up in our culture. So people, even when you're not qualified, you'll still be respected. Nobody can judge another. Therefore, once someone has qualified for sarva karma sannyas, means that honestly that person knows. अब क्या कर सकता है ये इंसान? उसका मन में अब जिज्ञासा है, शास्त्र की तरफ ध्यान जाता है, जो कहा है वो समझ में आता है, मन में रुकता है, उस पे मन बार बार सोचता है, वो आराम से होता है क्योंकि मन अब इसमें नहीं जा रहा है उसने क्या कहा, उसने क्या करा, वो क्यों ऐसी, वो क्यों वैसा. अब इन जगहों पे मन जाता ही नहीं. You have grown out of it now. That sarva karma sannyas, then he is able to now do vedanta vakya vichara. He is able to keep the mind contemplative, does whatever is necessary to be done, but can keep the mind contemplative. Because of that contemplation, that study, that shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, Madhusudana Saraswati here says, Bhagavad Bhakti Nishtha. Now you have Bhagavad Bhakti Nishtha, which means what? There is more and more confirmation to your own self, more and more conviction about Bhagavad Bhakti. That Bhagavad Bhakti doesn't mean bhakti just for the sake of Bhagwan. It automatically comes up. The sense of reality is now shifted to the words of Vedanta Vakya, and they start appearing as real. ये सच कह रहा है, ये शास्त्र सच कह रहा है. They, it starts becoming your conviction. And along with Bhagavad Bhakti is also fine to accept whatever your aspect or concept of higher is. You have more conviction towards the reality, which is not contact based. What is Bhagavad Bhakti? All gods, we don't know. We can't see them, we can't know them, we can't. But when you start understanding the Shastra on a Antakarna Shuddhi, you start seeing the world in a unifying manner. How a physicist starts seeing in terms of um, molecules and atoms. He starts seeing everything. If any one of us has science background, we know what it is. Especially when you are new to the subject, your mind changes. You know, when we went through anatomy class, the mind changed. Everything now looked cells and tissues, and this cell, this. It was fantastic to have a whole new set of vocabulary in your understanding, and the human body no longer looks the way it did before you had a grounded knowledge of anatomy, physiology, neurology, etc. subjects. What did these subjects do? They changed the way you look at a body. Before you learned that subject, you see the body with a certain sense of want or desire or attraction or repulsion or various ambiguous thinking, ambiguous emotions, ambiguous thinking. But once you have a grounded knowledge of what this body really is, when you go to a first time when you're taken to a dissection room and you see a body being cut, and something shakes in you. And if you have a little desire for this knowledge, or if you've had some purvam and you already were a thinking person, it can catapult you straight away to vairagyam. इधर एक जीवन था और अब नहीं है, और here another जीवन इसको काट रहा है. And on the table on which that body is kept, वो टेबल भी किसी कारपेंटर ने लकड़ी को काट के बनाया है. Suddenly our mind will have a pratipaksha. Pratipaksha means a counter thought. Oh my God, where is that sense of reality? Is it in that table? Is it in this body? Or was it there? The person Kangya. How does death just disappear? Someone. Where does it disappear? How does it become contactless after death? How will the person become contactless now? ये था भी क्या? हम हैं भी. When you look at your grandparents' photograph on the wall, you wonder. You wonder a whole life lived. What? Where? How did it change? He says that kind of a vakya vichar, when Vedanta will give us the reality of, it's a very sukshma drishti. Sukshma means it's a very subtle perception. It's subtle knowledge. Your buddhi has to hold it, and only then can you do manan on it. That preparation is the entire step, longest step. So once a body can no longer be seen as cells and etc., it's changed. In the same way, Vedanta Vakya, Shravanam of it, hearing of this, makes the whole world a unified perception. भेद जो दिख रहा है, we see division today, through Vedanta Shravanam Mananam, the division dissolves. And when the division dissolves, you have a vision, you see things as unifying, means it's the same life flowing through everyone, whether it's through an ant, a microbe, a virus, a shark, a bird, a falcon, any life form. And then you also know, if gods are said to have existence, it's the same life form. Whoever has a form has the same life principle running through all of them. That life principle, which I can't see, I can't touch, I can't feel, I can't smell, I just cannot objectively place it outside of me and know it. My life, I cannot place in front of me and say, oh, yeah, let's examine this. Like I can place a body in front and say, let's examine this. I cannot place a life in front of me and say, let's examine this. It's not possible. It can never happen. It will never happen, however advanced science gets. It will never happen because that unifying, that understanding born vision, that is Bhagavad Bhakti. All this is one. He's going to come forward and explain to us in Gita, 7th chapter onwards. This Bhagavad Bhakti Nishtha that he says, after that, what? He says, because of the Bhagavad Bhakti Nishtha, Tataha, that Tattva Jnana Nishtha, that there is this one life force running through. That is the Tattvam. Because what is the commonality between all of us who breathe? Who breathe and who don't breathe. There are two classifications of existence from science: living and inert. This living and inert, what is the common ground between both of them? Is there something that unifies the two? Living and inert, between a stone, a table, and me? Is there something that unites both of us? That is existence. Is existence of the table separate from my existence? Because I exist, I contact a table. So there is something that becomes unifying. That unifying tattva jnana nishtha, slowly the conviction starts coming towards tattva jnana. That tattva jnana is atma jnana, knowledge of one's existence. That tattva jnana nishtha, tasyaha phalam, what is the gain of that? Trigunatmika avidya nivritya. This division that we see and the plurality that we experience with various qualities here. Like I just said, for a human being, you can have the anatomical bodies, separated organs. For another animal, there is a separate set of organs, more or less. There can be more um, sharpened one faculty or less sharpened another faculty, etc. But they are different. You can make the differences out. This trigunatmika that we experience, the various gunas, as we call them, three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, the entire world contactable is trigunatmika. Shastra has reduced all these properties into these three gunas. Everything will fit into these three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. There is nothing that will not have the qualities, because you can contact it, it has qualities. Thus, that quality you are able to recognize because you have projected on yourself a sense of limitation in association with the body. I am this person. That I as existence is limited to the body. That is avidya. So, because of Tattva Jnana Nishtha, avidya nivritti, I now truly know who I am. And that trigunatmika avidya nivritti, this whole world is now one scene. And that Trigunatmika Vidya Nivritti means Now, Jivan Mukti, you're freed. I'll give you a relative example. It happened only today, so it became very fresh to me. As a professional, supposing if I'm working as a professional alone and I'm not into Vedanta at all, there is a certain level of struggle. You'll say, okay, you need to keep up with certain degree of work and etc. When you have given that realm up and you say, you are now into this realm of inquiry or learning Shastra and seeing how close you can abide as much as possible. There are no hard rules here, as long as you are doing what you can. That realm of struggle has reduced, given me more relaxation, supposing, has reduced its periphery, less struggle. You just project it further. Means there is now more shanti, more leisure. I'm not struggling to see another patient or go another home visit or do this and do that. No, I'm sitting, less struggle, more shanti. Expand this. What is the definition, meaning of moksha? Meaning of moksha is no struggle at all. You are there, but there is no struggle felt at all. I don't know how to explain this, but as best as I could with this example, if it helps, there is no struggle and yet life is. That is Jivan Mukti. Relative is with, you can take it in another way. As a child, what was your struggle? How much struggle was there? In all forms and all shapes and all sizes, and so much of struggle. Even getting parents' attention is a struggle. Even everything is a struggle at that stage. We may not be recognizing it, but there's so much a child goes through. Now, as you keep growing older, and you know that your parents really love you, mm, and they mean the best for you, and there's no one like them who can do best for you, who will mean best for you. What happened to that level of struggle once that understanding came? Is it still bringing that up?
It, that peace then, like,
It,
there's no fear, there's no, all that is automatic.
ah, absolutely. That peace now with reference, that means I have more shanti now. Jivan Mukti is, and ये real है. This is not imaginary in a future state as kabhi pata nahi kisi. It is a, as you keep growing, you are freeing yourself from conditioned life. That is least struggle, no struggle. A place where there is no struggle is called moksha. Which is another place where there is no struggle? All of you have the answer, I know, because it's our favorite comparison. Which is the other place where I have no struggle?
Heaven.
Heaven, okay. But we don't know that. We haven't gone there. We don't.
Sleep.
Hanji? Sleep.
Sleep.
Yes. In sleep, I have no struggle. I'm very happy. When I wake up, I know how happy I have been in my, if it's a deep sleep. There is no struggle. But is it reversible? Irreversible? When I wake up, what happens? The struggle comes back. Therefore, that state where there is no struggle is one is sleep. But in sleep, it is reversible. Means I wake up and I come back to the sense of struggle. Jivan Mukti is there is no struggle and it is irreversible. It cannot change further now. It will be irreversible. That Jivan Mukti, once a person has gained, and that was the Sthita Prajna person, what happens? Prarabdha karma bhog, phala bhoga paryantam. Only up to the point there is prarabdha karma still there in the person. He shows life, he is there, he'll live, he'll contact the world, he'll do everything. As we jokingly say, just because he's Jivan Mukta doesn't mean that he'll walk through the walls will disappear and the no, कुछ नहीं होता है. सिर्फ ये sense of struggle जो आज है, destroyed for good. So as long as the prarabdha karma means whatever karma is left to continue this life, till then a person is living. And then what? Tat ante. At the end, when the prarabdha karma ends, he gets videha mukti. Videha mukti means now no coming back. After death, he is now never returning back to the state of as we wake up. Today, I'll sleep, I'll get my shanti, but I'll wake up tomorrow again. What brings me to the state of waking up? Why do I wake up every day? And why is it at death I will no longer wake up in this body? That I wake up every day. What is the force behind it? Who's propelling the waking state? And it's fascinating when you see other animals also sleep. It's so fascinating. Some people, when they sleep, so much shanti on their face that you wonder ये उठते इतना इतना नौटंकी क्यों करते हैं जब उठते हैं तो मतलब इतना ज्यादा there's so much coming out of why because when that person is asleep so quiet and shant but on waking up there'll be hadam badam this that everything's happening that jivan mukti state prarabdha phala bhoga paryantam tadante videha mukti this person will have no more coming back. And then Jivan Mukti, the state of this is Parama Purushartha Avalambanena, means now he is acquired Parama Purushartha, the highest Purushartha that one can do. What is Purushartha? Self effort, directed self effort. Shastra says, where are we directing our self effort? In Artha Kama. What is Artha Kama? In acquiring wealth, possessions, enjoyments, pleasures, our entire self directed effort goes into these directions. We are spending it away there. Sometimes some of us are lucky or blessed enough. We do spend some effort for dharma, doing good things, doing picking up right causes, putting effort towards them. The highest purusharth that a human being can put is for moksha. Parama Purushartha Avalambanena, having now fulfilled the Parama Purushartha by gaining Jivan Mukti. Then what happens? Because he is still alive, there is a Paravairagya Prapti Daiva Sampada Akhya. Now there is this Paravairagya means now nothing touches the person as we saw in the second chapter. Nothing affects, nothing touches, nothing tempts. Everything can come into him, but no vikar in the mind, no change of the mind, no desire interrupt, no desire forming at all. And he expresses Daivi Sampat. Daivi Sampat is the wealth of divine qualities. That wealth of divine qualities, Age we will see, is another chapter in the Gita, 16th chapter. He'll come to that. Because of that Daivi Sampadakya, he says, what happens is asadharan Daivi Sampada asadharanam karanam satviki shraddha. In that Daivi Sampad, abiding in that means he is expressing that Daivi Sampad, which is the asadhar. He's now gained that because he's still Jivan Mukta and has Satviki Shraddha. Satvik Shraddha. Those three. Those are now the 17th chapter. Asuri Sampat. Asuric qualities. What are the entire Kauravas representing?
Asuri qualities.
Asuri qualities. What are those Asuri qualities? Few of them that we saw in Dhritarashtra and Shakuni and all the Kauravas. Some of them, if we mention,
Jealousy,
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 moha, delusion.
moha, delusion, arrogance, self righteousness, all these. You'll get these details.
दीदी जी सेल्फ राइटियसनेस है आई डाउट नहीं होगा ना
No,
उनमें
not in the sense of righteousness. Self right means I am always right.
ओके
In that sense. So,
acquiring people's things.
exactly. Greed, all these. Another chapter in the Gita, 17th, he'll come to. So, what is it? Asuri Sampat. They have collected all Asuri qualities. Those Asuri Sampat, which is Rajasi Tamasic. Iti Heya Upadeya Vibhagena Kritsna Shastra Artha Parisamaptihi. So, what is to be gained and what is to be avoided? Daivi Sampat you should collect. Asuri Sampat you should not grow. You should not avoid. I mean, you should avoid. You should not grow in yourself. Heya Upadeya, what is to be gained, what is to be left out. That Vibhag Karke, Shastra completes itself in the 17th chapter. Uh, and what is 18th chapter again? It is again conclusion, like second chapter. Again a conclusion. Now, this being the second chapter connection, you can see Madhusudan has said how whole Gita is going to be presented. Now, in the second paragraph, he is asking the first verse that we see in the third chapter. Ah, okay, good, I can change it. Yeah. Arjun is asking, Jayasi chet karpanaha te mata buddhihi janardana. Tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. I'll do the details later, but here, just as a introduction, he's asking Krishna, if you, in your opinion, think that buddhi gyan, jnana yog, atma nishtha is superior to abiding in karam yog, tatkim, then why? Ghore mam, karmani, this ghor karmas, plural, karmas means this whole realm of karmas. Niyojayasi, why are you impelling me towards it? O Keshav. And that has Vyamishreneva Vakyena. Your statements seem to have mixed up my understanding. What you have said in the second chapter has created mohaya, moha, mohayasi iva, as if I have got confused. Your statements seem as if they have contradiction. They've confused, they are confusing, and they seem confusing, like confusion, creating that confusion in me. Tat ekam vada. Therefore, tell me one निश्चित्य एक निश्चित करके मुझे बता दो. Tell me that one with certainty. Yena, by which, following which, Shreyaha aham apnuyam, I will get Shreyas. I will get my own. As we said, in the future, what is right for me. If you can tell me, should I follow Karam Yoga or Jnana Yoga, I'll follow that because that will be right for me in the future. As a result. Now, that question has come in Arjuna's mind. Remember when we did the second chapter, we said Krishna is clearly telling him, do karma. How has this question confused him? Why has this question come to Arjuna? These acharyas have taken a lot of effort to sort it for us. कौन से वाक्य कृष्ण के अर्जुन को कंफ्यूज कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये कंफ्यूजन हमें भी आ सकती है. So what is this? He says, Yogastha Kuru Karmani. In the verse, Yogastha Kuru Karmani, Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya Siddhayo Bhutva. Okay. I have moved forward. I need to come here. Over here, it's the same chronology that I had just spoken. He's explained by verse, chapter by chapter. Like, for example, maybe another time we'll do it, but since I've touched it, Yogastha Kuru Karmani Ityadi Sutrita Sattva Shuddhi Sadhana Bhuta Nishkama Karma Nishtha Samanya Vishesha Rupena Tritya Chaturtha Adhyaya. So, by saying in that verse, Yogastha Kuru Karmani, he's saying you'll get Sattva Shuddhi, which is Nishkama Karma Nishtha, and that explanation, Samanyatar, in a general way, he's giving in the third chapter, and in a specific way, the same topic will continue in the fourth chapter, but more specific. Vishesha. Have I made connection? Is it okay? You can nod. This or this.
Deepti ji, I have a doubt. So, in very specific terms, in chapter 2, Krishna tells him that you should fight the war, right? Then why would he be confused? If it's like said very that heto va prapsesi swargam.
Correct.
So then why is he again confused?
That's exactly what now they're showing where the confusion can come from. And that confusion is a very subtle, again, elucidation of another aspect of knowledge, which will throw more light and more clarity to us why we should engage in doing our karmas as yoga. So, that aspect, as he said in the second chapter, it was an overview. Now he's explaining in details because a lot of us may miss it still. ये तो हमने बोल दिया है, समझा दिया है because we've emphasized it. So we are now very clear this is what Krishna had said. But trust me, the first time I studied it, I wasn't told with such emphasis that Krishna means this. He's already said it. Then I read it again and I said, "Hey, to keh rahe," and then I had to read further to verify, "Oh, yes, this conclusion is right. He's already said it." So to us, it's so clear. But where is the confusion coming in Arjuna? Because Arjuna is asking the question. यही है ना भगवत गीता. अर्जुन ने पूछा है कि आप एक क्या पूछा है, that exactly clarity के साथ अब this portion will tell us. So you will see at the end that what you're asking will also get cleared there. That he should not have asked is hypothetical. It should be clear to us, but it is not clear to him. Why is it not clear to him? These acharyas are telling us. They are giving validity to Arjuna's question also. That is the greatness of the Shastra. A student's question is, Arjun's question is also given importance to explain that confusion can come. And what is the basis of that confusion? Is that okay?
Yes, Deepti ji.
Which last connection? I don't know what you mean. So I'll just continue in the meantime quickly over here. So then he's taken chapter by chapter, which I think as you move ahead in more chapters, you will also start seeing it. Now, where is the confusion coming from? He said in in the second chapter we saw, Bhagwan said Sankhya Buddhi and Yoga Buddhi. Where did he say that? Esha te abhihita sankhye buddhi yoge tu imam shrunu. So over here, I'm going to mark these with red. This is the first reference brought up on the right side with red. All this we saw in the second chapter. Here, the reference is on the right, third chapter. Krishna had told Arjuna, I have told you about Sankhya Buddhi now. Ab suno. Now I will be telling you about Buddhi Yoga, means Karam Yoga. I have just told you about Gyan Yoga. Now I am going to tell you about Karam Yoga. What is the impression you get?
That they are different from each other.
Bas, that is it. That they are going to be different from each other. Hmm? Then he says, Yoga Buddhim Ashritya Karma Nishtha Ukta. So over there, Yoga Buddhi means Karam Nishtha kaha gaya hai. Remain in karma, karma nisht raho. Yoge tu imam shrunu, as we just saw. And then starting from there up to karmani eva adhikaraha, 47th verse. Oh, I keep changing the. When I change, you can see the slide, the page, no? When I'm changing from commentary to the Moolam. Yeah, okay. So, karmani tu adhikaraha, 47th verse. Your adhikar is only in karmas, not in the fruits. Do not make fruits your motive and do not get attached to inaction. Lazy, कर्म नहीं करना, उसमें संगम मत रखना. Don't get attached to this thought कि I don't want to do anything. What is the philosophy? Less work, more gain. What is that? Something like that in today's world, it's popular, no?
Do less, get more.
Do less, get more, and also um, with more profit and less work.
Yeah, and also 20% of your work fetches you 80% of your results. So
Correct.
just
Then that will be very wisely done action. But that is still 20% of action. This is saying when you don't want to do anything, but you want 100% result. So he had said here, I'm telling you Jnana Yoga and Karam Yoga, and you, Arjun, Karmani Eva Nishtha. Okay, so far? Divya? And then he said further, Nacha anayoho nishthayoho adhikari bhedaha. This is important. You see, in front of Krishna, there is only one Arjuna who's in conversation. Krishna has said there are these two, and that is in line with what Vedas have said. There is a pravritti marg, nivritti marg. There is a realm of action, and there is a realm of giving up of action, renunciation of action. Krishna said, I mean, Shastras and Vedas have said that this is set from the very beginning of creation. Ye do marg from the very beginning. Anybody remembers where we studied this?
Tattvabodha.
Okay. Where else? In the Gita? The very introduction of the Gita, before the first chapter. Dve buddhi. There are two buddhis, Sankhya buddhi and Yoga buddhi. That very, very first statement that Shankara starts with. That Vedas bring out path of pravritti and path of nivritti. So based on that is what Krishna is saying. I have taught you Gyan Nishtha, now listen to Karam Yoga. And you abide in Karam Yoga and do not get attached to inaction. But Krishna did not say specifically Ki, should it be done by one person? These both apply to one person? Or are there adhikari bheda also? If these two paths are different, then is this mandate for two different people? Is there an adhikari bheda? That spashtam upadishtaha bhagavata, by Bhagwan, that spashtata is not there. This is very subtle and you must get this. What did he say in the second chapter? I'm coming back to it. Habit. He said, I have told you Sankhya Buddhi. Now listen, Buddhi Yoga. Then he said, you do karma and etc. But he did not say, if there are two paths, listen carefully. अर्जुन को कहा दो रास्ते हैं, सांख्य बुद्धि एंड योग बुद्धि, और तुम योग बुद्धि को फॉलो करो. What will you feel?
I'm also feeling like that only.
And this is going
not
to.
eligible for the second one.
Hanji, sorry.
I'm not eligible for the second one.
हाँ. You'll start feeling कुछ
And
कुछ.
इससे जो मुश्किल वाला है वो मेरे को बोल रहे हो, जो आसान वाला है वो मैं जो कह रहा हूँ कि मैं करना चाहता हूँ, मैं त्याग करना चाहता हूँ, मैं भिक्षा मांगना चाहता हूँ, वो मुझे नहीं करने दे रहे, दूसरा वाला कह रहे हैं करने के.
And look at, now you will start seeing what he's meaning.
But Diti, when he said
Yes,
to
it is
follow the path
applicable
of,
based on a situation as well. Sorry?
Diti, when he said follow the karma buddhi, right? Did he mean for everybody or he meant only to Arjun?
That is exactly the point here. Does he mean to everybody? And that clarity here. Because if we say we are in Arjun's position, then that knowledge is coming to us. That is being told to us. Then I need to assess, I need to know, am I qualifying for Jnana Yoga or am I qualifying for Karam Yoga? Krishna ne to Arjun ko kaha tu Karam Yoga kar. But there is still a little more. Then you'll get complete clarity about it. And what is it? He says, first point, Krishna did not spashtata nahi kari, specifically nahi kaha कि it is for different adhikaris or it both are to be done by Arjun. Dono follow karo. Not only that, because he did not specify separately, there arises a vivaksha, a possibility of confusion. Because specifically has not been said, it can bring up a confusion, a possibility of a confusion can rise, which is samuchaya vivaksha. Do both. Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. You do Buddhi Yoga. But listener can think, should I do both? Should I do one? To me, is it only Karam Yoga and I don't have to do Sankhya Yoga at all? Will there be someone who only has to do Sankhya Yoga and doesn't have to do Karam Yoga? Or should I do both simultaneously together? That is called Jnana Karma Samuchaya. I should do both. And it's a huge, Shankara puts a lot of effort in a lot of bhashyams. And this level of understanding, if we have had, if we are able to come anywhere even close to, is so much effort Shankara has put to clarify this Jnana Karma Samuchaya Asambhavaha. And this is a subtle point, needs a little attention. Very easy to understand, but needs a little attention. because of the way the verses have gone and the conversation has gone, when we are conversing, हम होता है ना, we can't say everything together, तो दूसरा इंसान पूछता है वापस, what did you mean at that time, what did you say? So that's the kind of conversation Arjun and Krishna are having. In that, confusion can arise. Arjun is totally dedicated and surrendered. He wants to follow what Krishna will say, but he also is now not understood fully in already confused mind that he was. Krishna has said you do karma. Based on Shraddha, he could have gone and done karma, fought the war. But the confusion still remained. Why is Krishna telling me to fight when he's saying Gyan Yog is also another path? मैं तो वही कह रहा हूँ, just like Akasha, just मैं तो कह रहा हूँ I want to take Gyan Yog, but he's telling me to do Karma Yog. You see the difference? Because if you see this difference, you will understand the entire Gita and why it applies to us in our life, where we stand, where we are. Why is it to be followed? Separately? Should I do Gyan separately? Karam separately? Should I do them together? Should I only do one? What is a or is ज्ञान योग किसी और के लिए अब मैंडेटरी है, मेरे लिए कर्म योग मैंडेटरी है? Will it ever become कि मेरे लिए भी मैंडेटरी ज्ञान योग हो सकता है? Or all my life I will कर्म योग take me to moksha? Will Gyan Yoga take me to moksha? Will the combination take me to moksha? That is Jnana Karma Samuchaya. And that's a huge school. When we come to Shankar Bhashyam, I'll explain at that time. So here he said further, more point why, I'll take 2 more minutes. What is, we still have time. Why is it added confusion? Because Krishna also said, Durena hi avaram karma, buddhi yogat dhananjaya. Durena hi avaram karma. Anybody remembers the meaning? Avaram karma. What is avaram karma?
Selfish.
Lower. Karma is far yoga lower. Durena, by far means it is lower to buddhi yoga. Buddhau sharanam anvicha. You take resort in buddhi yoga. Why? Kripanaha phalahetavaha. Those who work for fruits are kripanaha. They are helpless people. You act there because there's a huge difference between karma and karam yoga. And then he had also said, Yavan artha udapane sarvatah samplutotake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijana. Those who have atmagyan, to them all karmas and the fruits are included in the phal of atmagyan. Do you see the difference? I'll repeat this. In the previous verse, he said, Karma and Karam Yoga se Karam Yoga better hai. And by far, there is a lot of difference between the two. So, Karam Yoga any day is better than Karma. But in the previous verse, he had said that the knower of Brahman, the knower of Atma, such a knower has all the fruits, whatever karmas can bring, whatever Vedas have given as fruits for his karma, all the fruits come to him. They're included in the moksha purusharth. तो जब सारे
Essentially, what he's saying is
जब सारे
essentially
फल
what he's saying is कि
वो वही वो कर्म योग कर करके ही वहां पहुंचा है, उसको कर्म योग से जो पुण्य मिला है वो ही उसके ज्ञान योग के फॉर्म में फलित हुआ है.
No, that's not said. He's showing the difference. कर्म योग से चित्त शुद्धि हुई है, not just punya, चित्त शुद्धि हुई है. But in the 46th verse, he had said, but the knower of Brahman, nirvedam, he has got vairagyam from all fruits. Why? Because just as a ocean or a pond of water, how much does a well water suffice him? सारी इच्छाएं उसकी उसी में पूर्ण हो जाती हैं. So since all ichhas are getting fulfilled for him, therefore ज्ञान योग से उसको मोक्ष मिल रहा है, कर्म योग से उसको चित्त शुद्धि मिल रही है. So he says, यावानर्थ उदपाने ज्ञान फले सर्व कर्म फल अंतर्भवस्य. They are all included within ज्ञान योग. And then Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha. This is where everything has come to him. In this manner, Jnana Phala Upasamharat. He is given the fruit of Jnanam. What is the fruit of Jnana? By glorifying the Sthita Prajna, and that everything has come to him. And then further saying, Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam, and showing the difference between when there is a Dvaita Darshana, then what is your life? And when Dvaita Darshana Abhava, when there is a Dvaita Darshana Abhav, karma anushtan is asambhav. You cannot do karma when there is no Dvaitam. So moksha phale jnana matra eva. That moksha phal is because of jnanam alone. Here Madhusudan ji says that we accept it because people want to find causation also. So we accept Gyan Yoga as a means, but Atma is your own sthiti. So there is no cause relation there. And that Shruti also says. Now that much is, sorry, so that much is now connecting why through these verses you realize why Arjuna is getting confused. Are we also confused with what is said? Or is it clear?
Dipti ji, so if there is some desire, then instead of doing karma, do karma yoga. And if there is no desire, then you are eligible for Gyan Yoga.
You should have sadhana chatushtayam. Because no desire की स्थिति तो होती ही नहीं ना. There's you'll even if there is a desire for moksha, there is a desire. So no desire is a hypothetical situation. That your antakaranam is shuddh and is awake to questioning, receiving knowledge, that qualifies you. When you don't have insecurities for the results, etc., you know it. But here, what our attention should be on 1 minute. Let me complete this. So where is our attention here? Our attention here is on understanding, as he just said, that if these two paths were told, and Gyan Yoga is told as direct means for moksha, so why is Arjun being told to do karma? And therefore, how am I to know whether I should do karma yoga, or am I eligible for Gyan Yoga?
So Deepiji, would it be fair to say that he doesn't have Sadhan Chatushtayam, he doesn't have the
No, let's
Vairagya,
not.
he
No, no,
doesn't
no, no.
have
We'll
the...
miss out the point. We are not seeing what he's asking a question because he's got confused what is Krishna's implication towards. It's just leave it at that much. What is Krishna? If you are given two contradictory statements, you are bound to have confusion. Why should I not take Gyan Yoga? जब मेरा
So
मन भी
Deepiji,
कर
is
रहा
it
है
fair to say? Yeah, please go.
सो जब मेरा मन भी कर रहा है कि आई शुड टेक renunciation, मगर कृष्णा कह रहे हैं कि do karma, तो there must be something there, no?
Is it because we all are grastas, Arjuna is a grasta, so that is why he's not capable of higher levels at the moment? That's why Lord Krishna is saying to do this first.
Grahastha means definitely, in fact, this question will arise because of that. Sannyasa doesn't just mean sannyasa as in ashram. Sarva karma sannyas means mentally you have given up karmas. Even if you're in grahastha, it is possible according to Shastra. But here he is only clarifying, raising a question कि आप दोनों बातें बोल रहे हो तो आप मुझे क्यों कह रहे हो कि मैं सिर्फ कर्म करूं? Can you explain further? And now Krishna will start with a detailed explanation of what is Karam Yoga. And then we will realize third and the fourth chapter. That is how, thanks to Arjuna's questions, it keeps moving on.
So Deepiji, is it
they
fair
are.
to say? Sorry.
1 minute.
Oh,
Are
yeah,
they
please.
like sequential, undergraduate and postgraduate? Yes, they are sequential. They are krama. There is a krama there. You can follow one, qualifying there, then only you are eligible for the other. That's right. So krama samuchaya is accepted. Doing both together is not. In fact, that's a good example. Undergraduate and postgraduate. Can you do both together? Unless until you have cleared your undergraduate, how can you apply for postgraduate? Common sense. So in the same way, अगर आपकी चित्त शुद्धि ही नहीं हुई है तो आप ज्ञान आत्मा अनात्मा क्या करोगे? So question is, what is applicable to us? How do we know what is applicable to us? It ought to be clear to all of us what is our eligibility if chitta shuddhi is the bridge between the two paths. Absolutely. And we know if our, so what is, that's why चित्त शुद्धि को आप इंडिकेटर करके बताना बहुत मुश्किल है कौन चित्त शुद्ध है कि नहीं है. People will have all kinds of imaginary thoughts around it. Who, what is chitta shuddhi? He's clarified shama dama adi purasaraha, having those qualities found in yourself means now, and one knows. If the fact that we are questioning so much, it'll be safe to say, let's stick to Karam Yoga.
You yourself are a judge. When you do the action, you realize with what purity you're doing that action.
Absolutely. And that purity should be nishkama karma. फल से ही जुड़ना नहीं है. और हमें पता है कि हम, I'll say one more sentence here. फल से जुड़ना नहीं will give us the first step of purity. Unless and until it has been abided in and practiced, फल से हम जुड़ के ही काम किए हैं तो मुझे ही पता होगा ना कि मैंने कभी फल को त्यागने की कोशिश की भी है कि नहीं की है. क्योंकि अगर मैंने कोशिश ही नहीं की कभी तो बाय डिफॉल्ट व्हाट एम आई? सकामी. क्योंकि निष्काम तो पुरुषार्थ है. सकाम पुरुषार्थ मतलब उसको पुरुषार्थ नहीं कहा है मैं. ओके, वी आर डूइंग for our desires, fulfillments is also okay, fine, Purusharth. But निष्काम मुझे पता होगा ना कि मैंने त्याग की कितनी तपस की नहीं करी, कोशिश की नहीं करी, और वो जो शांति मिलती है वो भी मुझे ही पता चलेगा कि ये शांति पहले नहीं थी. I was missing the, and it's a दुनिया अलग. It's a different world. And I will know that I'm living that shanti or not. Okay. Divya, you were saying something?
So DPG, one is an eligibility test, and the other is to tell you that moksha is not the, like, you cannot get moksha by karma. You understand this pretty well.
Excellent.
So this is just an eligibility that you, and that's why he tells Arjun that everyone begins from A, nobody begins from words, right? So you also have to go down and then come up the track. Right?
Correct. There's no going down. You are there only. You have to rise up.
Yeah, matlab you'll have to begin from A and then go to words and then go to sentences.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Absolutely. Start from alphabets, then form words, and then form sentences. And then you're free to write a book. Okay. So, yeah. We'll end here for today. We'll continue tomorrow. As we do the verse further, you'll get more and more clarity about the question also. And when Bhagwan starts answering from the third verse, the whole chapter is Karam Yoga. And it only keep adding more information to us about the importance of it. Neetuji?
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषा. गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम्. लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः. पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी. देशोऽयं शोभरहितः. ब्राह्मणः सन्तु निर्भयाः. शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरि ओम दीप्ति जी.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
धन्यवाद.
Recording has stopped.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Any questions?
Yes, I have a very Indian question, and I've been wondering about this for quite some time. कि
Thank you, everyone.
जो बुद्धि योग है, एक बार वो कहते हैं कि सांख्य बुद्धि के बारे में